Good day. So for today, we're going to tackle about tracheostomy care, and at the end of the discussion, you'll be able to discuss and demonstrate how to appropriately care of tracheostomy, including how to change ties and tubes, suctioning techniques, stomach care, and an emergency procedures. And next, you will also know how to safely perform tracheostomy suctioning, and you will be also recognize possible complications and initiate appropriate interventions. And lastly, you will be able to provide an alternative way of communication. So first, let's define tracheostomy. A tracheostomy is an opening to the neck into the trachea. It opens the airway and aids breathing. And also it may be done at the patient's bedside or in the operating room. And it may be temporary or permanent. So next, let's define tracheostomy care. So what is a tracheostomy care? A tracheostomy care is a procedure performed routinely to keep the plunge, tracheostomy dressing, ties, or straps, and keep the surrounding area clean to reduce the introduction of bacteria into the trachea and lungs. So let's move on to the purposes of tracheostomy care. So the purpose of tracheostomy care is to maintain air patency, maintain cleanliness, and prevent infection at the tracheostomy site. And it also facilitates healing and prevents skin excoriation around the tracheostomy incision. And lastly, to promote comfort to the patient. So next, let's tackle the indications. So first, we have obstruction of the mouth or throat, breathing difficulty caused by edema, injury, or pulmonary conditions. Next is airway reconstruction following tracheal or laryngeal surgery. Next is airway protection from secretions of the food because of swallowing problems. Next is acute respiratory failure. And lastly, need for prolonged mechanical ventilation.
Tracheostomy care is contraindicated to the patient with active cellulitis of the anterior neck skin, fracture of cervical neck vertebrae with spinal cord injury, neuromuscular diseases that paralyze or weaken breathing muscles, and laryngeal carcinoma or cancer of the voice sacs that may block the airway. For the assessment, we need to assess respiratory status including ease of breathing, rate, rhythm, depth, lung sounds, and oxygen saturation level. We also need to assess the pulse rate, character and amount of secretions from the tracheostomy site, presence of drainage of tracheostomy dressing or ties, and also the appearance of incision, and we also have to note any redness, swelling, purulent discharge, or odor. For planning, the equipments we need to prepare are sterile container, sterile nylon brush or pipe cleaner, sterile applicator, gauze square, disposable inner cannula, towel or drape, suction catheter, sterile normal saline, sterile gloves, two pairs, one pair is for suctioning if needed, clean gloves, moisture-proof bag, cotton twill ties or Velcro collar, and also clean scissor.
So let's move on to the implementation. Number 1. Before performing the procedure, you should introduce yourself and verify the client's identity using the agency protocol. Explain to the client what are you going to do, why it is necessary, and how to effectively participate, and provide a means of communication such as eye blinking or raising a finger to indicate pain or distress. So next, number 2, perform hand hygiene and observe other appropriate infection prevention procedures. Number 3, provide for client privacy. Number 4, prepare the client and the equipment. In this preparation, you should assist the client to a semi-Fowler's or a Fowler's position to promote lung expansion. And next, suction the tracheostomy tube if needed. If suctioning was required, allow the client to rest and restore oxygenation. And next, open the tracheostomy kit or sterile basins, and establish sterile field. And next, open other sterile supplies as needed, including sterile applicators, suction kit, tracheostomy dressing, and disposable inner cannula if applicable. And pour the soaking solution and sterile normal saline into separate containers. And next, apply clean gloves and remove the oxygen source and unlock the inner cannula if present and remove it by gently pulling it out toward to you in line with its curvature. And next, place the inner cannula in the soaking solution, if not disposable inner cannula. And the rationale for this is to moisten and loosen dried secretions. And based on the client's respiratory assessments, place oxygen source over or near the outer cannula. And the rationale for this is to prevent oxygen desaturation by maintaining oxygen to the client. And next, remove the soiled tracheostomy dressing and place the soiled dressing in your glove hand. And fill the glove up so that it turns inside out over the dressing. Next, remove and discard the glove and the dressing. And perform hand hygiene. And next, apply sterile gloves and keep your dominant hand steady during the procedure. So next, number 5, clean the inner cannula. So for this procedure, you should remove the inner cannula from the soaking solution and clean the lumen and the entire inner cannula thoroughly using the brush or pipe cleaners moistened with sterile normal saline. And inspect the cannula for cleanliness by holding it at the eye level and looking through it into the light. And next, rinse the inner cannula thoroughly in the sterile normal saline. After rinsing, gently tap the cannula against the inside edge of the sterile saline container, and use a pipe cleaner folded in half to dry only the inside of the cannula and do not dry the outside. And the rationale for this is to remove excess liquid from the cannula and prevents possible aspiration of the client, while leaving a film of moisture on the outer surface to lubricate the cannula for reinsertion.
For implementation, number 6, replace the inner cannula, securing it in place. Insert the inner cannula by grasping the outer flange and inserting the cannula in the direction of its curvature. Lock the cannula in place by turning the lock, if present, into position to secure the flange of the inner cannula to the outer cannula. 7. Clean the incision site with tube flange. Using sterile applicators or gauze dressing moistened with normal saline, clean the incision site. Handle the sterile supplies with your dominant hand. Use each applicator or gauze dressing only once and then discard. The rationale for this is to avoid contaminating a clean area with a solid gauze dressing or applicator. Hydrogen peroxide may be used to remove crusty secretions around the tracheostomy site. Do not use directly on the site. The rationale for this is that hydrogen peroxide can be irritating to the skin and inhibit healing if not thoroughly removed. Clean the flange of the tube in the same manner. Thoroughly dry the client's skin and tube flanges with dry gauze squares. Number 8. Apply a sterile dressing. Use a commercially prepared split gauze tracheostomy dressing of non-raveling material. Never use cotton-filled gauze squares or cut the 4x4 gauze. The rationale for this is that cotton lint or gauze fibers can be aspirated by the client, potentially creating a tracheal absence. Place the dressing under the flange of the tracheostomy tube. While applying the dressing, ensure that the tracheostomy tube is securely supported. The rationale for this is excessive movement of the tracheostomy tube irritates trachea. Number 9. Change the tracheostomy ties. Change as needed to keep the skin clean and dry. 10. Remove and discard sterile gloves. Perform hand hygiene. The rationale for this is to help prevent the spread of germs and reduces the risk of infection. Washing hands with soap and water effectively removes germs and helps maintain a clean environment. For evaluation, conduct appropriate follow-up such as the appearance of secretions suctioned, breath sounds, respiratory rate, rhythm and depth, pulse rate and rhythm, and skin color. Compare findings to previous assessment data if available. Report significant deviations from normal to the primary care.
So lastly, for the documentation, we should record suctioning such as increased secretions, audible gargling, difficulty in breathing, or decreased oxygen saturation. And we should note if a new dressing was applied, the type used, and any protective barrier cream or antiseptic applied around the stoma. And we should document assessment of the stoma site, such as warm site with tenderness, redness, or any discharge from the stoma. And lastly, we should document patient's tolerance to the procedure. Note if there is any difficulty or discomfort.
As we conclude this session, I encourage you to practice these skills regularly and seek further clarification whenever needed. Remember that proficiency in tracheostomy care can significantly impact a patient's quality of life. Thank you once again for your dedication, and I look forward to seeing you apply what you've learned today in your future practice. If there are any questions or anyone would like additional resources or support regarding tracheostomy care, please feel free to reach out after this demonstration. Thank you for listening.